Alright, continuing on with Remembrance of the Cousin. I finished up another list, but it was a little shorter. This one's a little longer. Um, there were a couple movies that I remember watching that were released on the TV when my cousin was over, when after I moved to Wisconsin from Minnesota. So my cousin was still living in Minnesota. One of them was we were watching Adventures in Babysitting. That is a fun movie. I've seen that many times now. I remember this one time in the movie. Apparently, my cousin had seen it before because he recited one of the lines in the movie. Um, I think it was right before someone had said it. Um, it was a part in Adventures in Babysitting where um, my neighbors are being annoying right now. I don't know if that's coming up, if that's going to be on the audio. I hope not, but I can hear them. Okay, the part in Adventures in Babysitting where uh, the babysitter and the kids they're running away from somebody, the bad guys in the movie, or was it? There was another guy who had a hook for a hand. I don't remember who they were running away from, but they were running away from somebody. Oh yeah, I think it was. I think it was the part in the movie where the guy with the hook in the hand, the hook for the hand, the tow truck guy. He was. Yeah, I might be mistaken about this. I was just thinking they were running away from because there's this one time in the movie where yeah, I think that might be this part where the tow truck guy was towing the babysitter's car because the tire had a flat, and so the tow truck guy who had a hook for a hand, I think his name was Pruitt. He found out his wife was cheating on him, so he went to his home and he saw the guy, or he went in the house and they were having an argument. Well, because the guy was having an affair with his wife, so he was like punching him, and I remember a shot was fired, and then the babysitter was like, "Okay, time to go," because somebody was being shot at. So the babysitter and the kids got out of the tow truck, and I think this might have been when they got in this other car. I think so. They got in this other car, and somebody else was already in the car, and it was somebody who was stealing the car. So he was a criminal, but he was actually kind of a nice guy. He was a bad dude. But there was this one. So there's this one part in the movie where the babysitter was telling the carjacker politely to just uh, stop and let them out of the vehicle. I guess it was when she found out, she realized that he was a criminal. He was stealing the car. Because at first she was like thanking him because they were getting away from the other situation where somebody was being shot at. So the babysitter was politely asking the car thief to stop and let them out. And then I think it was the babysitter said this. Somebody said it. Said, "Can you stop and let us out?" And then, okay, so this is the line that my cousin, he knew about this because he'd seen it before, and he liked this movie. Apparently, he liked this character and this line in the movie. My cousin had said this right before the car thief had said it. I think it was like something like, uh, "Lady, get out of this part of town. I wouldn't even get out of this part of town. Get out at this part of town." So he's implying that it was a dangerous part of town. I think it was over by Chicago. Babysitter and the kids were from the suburbs, so like this was like in the busy part of town, or dangerous apparently at night, maybe even during the day. So you're saying I wouldn't even get out of the car in this part of town. So is that line that my cousin was like, he anticipating, he said, I like this line. There was another time where I don't have it on my notes here, unless it's on one of my later notes. But I remember at one time when my cousin was over, the movie No Holds Barred with Hulk Hogan, I think, was on the TV. But I don't remember seeing much of it. I'm pretty sure it was on at one point. So I still haven't seen that movie. I guess it's a wrestling movie. It's got Hulk Hogan in it. But then there was this other time where I remember Revenge of the Nerds Part 2. I think it was Part 2 was on when my cousin was over. I remember liking, I liked the first one too, but I remember liking the second one because there's this like concert scene. Well, there's a concert scene in the first one too, but like in the second one, there's this one guy that comes out. He does this like kind of rap, like Beastie Boys style thing, which I really liked at the time. Hmm. Maybe I should save this for the next video because it might take a while to explain. Skip that. Ooh, that next one's gonna take a while to explain. Um, well, there's this other time that I think it was after I had moved to Wisconsin, probably, but it was not at, it wasn't in Wisconsin where this happened. This was, I guess I was hanging out, maybe spending the night at my cousin's place in Minnesota, in the last home that he lived in before he died. Um, we were doing the dishes, and I'm sure I was probably being stubborn about it because I didn't want to do the dishes. I was probably like, I don't want to do the dishes. And my cousin was saying, well, you have to, probably. He talked me into it. He told me I had to help with the dishes, apparently. Uh, I don't know how often I did it at the time. I don't know how often I did the dishes in my own home. Uh, the times when I did do the dishes there, so I might have a little bit at that time. But the time when I did do the dishes at my home in Wisconsin, uh, we uh, we had a lot of dishes. I had a lot of dishes to do. I don't know if I was exaggerating, but I think it was like it took like an hour to do the dishes. I remember telling my friend that, and then he was like, "No," he didn't believe me. But then when he saw how many dishes there were, he's like, "Oh wow, yeah, that is a lot of dishes." So I don't know if it like a lot of silverware. I remember like when the silverware it was in the sink, there was like just a pile of it. Oh, and I was thinking, oh, how many more silverware is next in here in the sink? Remember just thinking back to doing the dishes, just thinking how gross it was. Ugh. Yeah, we had a lot. We had a lot of dishes, a lot of dirty dishes. Maybe it just piled up. Maybe because it had been piling up for like a week. So, but like, so I didn't want to do the dishes at my cousin's place, but he pretty much told me I had to, I think. Uh, but I remember at one time when I guess when I was washing one of the silverware, or I don't know if it was a fork or if it was a spoon, but my cousin was pretty much telling me I wasn't doing it right. He said, "No, don't do it like that. Do it like this." So, like, maybe a lot of people would agree with him, but he was telling me like so to have the fork or the spoon, and then the dish the sponge or the cloth or whatever you're washing the dishes with to bend it over, and then so that when you're washing the spoon or fork, you're because you have it bent over, you're washing both sides of the spoon or fork at the same time, like that. So I was doing it like one side and then the other side, and he said, "Don't do it like that. Do it this way, and then you're doing it faster." And maybe because he just wanted to hurry up and get it done with. So he was saying if you do it that way, we get it done quicker. I guess being more efficient. So I kind of see that point, but like even now, I don't do it that way. I like to when I wash the spoon or fork when I do my dishes, I do one side and then the other side of the spoon or fork. So that might seem strange to other people, but it's just I don't really have an explanation to why I do it that way. I just like to do it that way. I like to concentrate on one side of the spoon or fork and then the other side of the spoon or fork. I like to make sure one side is nice and good and clean before I get to the other side. Maybe I think like if I do it like the other way where I'm washing both sides of the spoon or fork at the same time, maybe I won't maybe I'll miss something. I do that now with mm, the knives, butter knives. I'll bend the dishwashing sponge over, and then I'll go like that, so that I'm washing both sides of the butter knife at the same time. Um, then later, after we had finished the dishes and put the dishes in the cupboard, his mother, my cousin's mother, had looked. I guess she was grabbing something from the cupboard where the dishes were, the dishes cupboard. Oh, this continues on to the next note. Yeah. So my mother was grabbing a dish from the I don't know what kind of dish. She was grabbing a dish from the cupboard, and she saw that it wasn't completely dry apparently, and I guess I was drying the dishes, and I guess, and she was like, "Who did this?" And my cousin said I had been drying the dishes. I don't remember if I was or not, but I remember thinking, "Why am I getting in trouble here? What? I didn't do anything wrong." But my aunt was saying this isn't dry, and my cousin said that I was drying the dishes, and my aunt my aunt was like, uh, kind of like scolding me. She was like, "Aw, come on, you know better than that." Did I at the time? I don't know. I think maybe my cousin had washed dishes more than I did. Maybe that's why I didn't dry the dishes thoroughly enough. You know better than that. Dry the dishes completely before you put it in the cupboard, basically. So I remember being a little sad about that, being scolded. I don't even dry dishes now. I just leave them in the that thing, and they dry for hours. And still, like, even they're not completely dry sometimes when I put them in the cupboard. So there's that.